I wanted to take some time and shoot a video to explain one of the bigger changes that's taken place at Good Shepherd over the last month, I guess. And I want to back up a little bit and give you some background information so you can understand both the reason for the decision and the decision that was made. We have changed from being a church under the oversight of Bishop Bill Murdoch of the Anglican Diocese in New England, to now being under the authority of Bishop Julian Dobbs of the Diocese of CANA East. That change took place last month. Now let me tell you about dioceses, bishops, and why we made the change. Now if you're not an Anglican, this will probably not be familiar to you. If you are, then, well, hold on, I'll get to the reasons for the decision in a minute, but I want to lay some groundwork here. So Anglicans believe in a threefold ministry. We have bishops, priests, or presbyters, and deacons. Bishops oversee usually geographical regions in which there are a number of different congregations led by pastors, presbyters, who these bishops have authority over. And within every region there are usually some deacons. These are the three orders of ministry. An Anglican province is made up of a lot of different dioceses bounded together, usually within the borders of a nation. So there's the Anglican Church in Kenya, which is one province made up of many dioceses in Kenya. Well, we belong, our province is called the Anglican Church in North America. You can look that up online, you can find the website. And in that province, there are many different dioceses. Among them are both CANA East, which is the diocese that we moved into, and the Anglican Diocese in New England, which is where we were. So we haven't left the Anglican Church, we haven't left the province, we haven't left, I guess, a term that you might understand, or that might be more familiar to you is denomination, though it's not quite accurate. We haven't left the denomination that we are in. We've just moved from one diocese in that denomination, or one diocese within that province to another. And let me tell you why. Now, when we first moved out of the Episcopal Church because of the false teaching with regard to human sexuality that was adopted legislatively by that church, we were received temporarily by the Anglican Church in Kenya. And this is getting confusing. Because we believe in this, because Anglicans hold to a threefold order of ministry, once we left the Episcopal Church, we didn't have a bishop, and we had to find a bishop to have oversight over us. And at the time, there was no Anglican province or denomination other than the Episcopal Church in the United States that we would be able to join. So we were, for a while, overseen by a bishop who was, thousands of miles away. Ultimately, in 2009, the Anglican Church in North America was formed. And when that took place, all the churches that left the Episcopal Church, all the congregations that left the Episcopal Church, and some new ones that had been planted, joined together in this one great province, and a number of bishops were consecrated. And usually, depending on where your church was overseen, or your congregation was overseen during the process of the separation from the Episcopal Church, that would determine who your bishop would be and where your diocese would be. We were in Kenya, and most of the Kenyan congregations were then moved into a diocese overseen by a bishop who was consecrated by one of the Kenyan bishops, or I'm sorry, three of the Kenyan bishops, or the archbishop there, and ours was Bishop Bill Murdoch. He's a great guy, a really good man, wonderful teacher, and he has served and led the diocese of the Anglican Diocese in New England well, and he has served and led us well. So we're very grateful for his ministry and for him personally. He's been very helpful to me as well. It's just my pastor. So very, very good man. The 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 fact is, though, Good Shepherd is the furthest flung congregation from the center of the Anglican Diocese in New England. The most of the churches in that diocese are in Massachusetts or Connecticut, very close to Boston. It would take 5 hours for me to go to the synod or any meeting that is being held in the diocese. So we were kind of remote, and if you might notice, we didn't have too many bishops visits as we did in our older church when our bishop was based in Syracuse. So um, uh, at the same time, some of the other Anglican churches in our area that had left the Episcopal Church, St. Andrew's in Decatur, St. Andrew's and Trinity up in Syracuse, and there's one other church, I forget the name of it. Those churches belong to CANA East, which is a diocese that is based in, well, it was originally based in Virginia, and now it seems like the center is moving to Philadelphia, only 3 hours away. That's where the synods are held anyway. And it's led now by a bishop by the name of Julian Dobbs. So the situation was that we were in an area surrounded by CANA congregations, but we were not a member of the CANA Diocese. So the vestry last year wrote to the Bishop Bill Murdoch, asking for his permission to transfer our jurisdiction over to CANA East. It was a friendly request. There was no animosity. There was no reason for it other than the near proximity of other churches in that diocese. He received our letter very kindly and graciously, and he agreed to the transfer. And that process has taken about a year. We have also been in contact with Julian Dobbs, who's also a great and good man and a wonderful preacher. I'll send you, or I'll put a link to one of his sermons and a little bit of information about him after I shoot this video, and I'll send it out with the update this week. He's also a very good man, and really, so far, has been a great pastor to me. He doesn't know me very well, but he's been incredibly helpful to me in my own personal and professional life. So I'm very thankful for him as well. Excuse me. So we've now the transfer took place officially last month, and we were released and received the same day. That includes both the church as a whole and our orders, and that means our ordination papers, I guess, were transferred over, and so now Bishop Dobbs is our bishop. The benefits of this will be a lot more connected both to the churches in this area, but also more connected to the diocese. Now, that may not seem like a big deal to a lot of you who are outside of the Anglican realm, but for Anglicans, it's a pretty big deal. We get to take part in the life of the wider church. We are now more connected to not just churches in our region, but churches all over the East, all of the region that CANA oversees, and it's easier for me to now participate in the meeting, and me and some delegates from our church to participate in the governance of the diocese, and through the governance of the diocese, the governance of the whole province. So we now have a say in a way that we didn't before, just because of the distance that was represented in our old diocese. So it's again a fond farewell that we bid to Bishop. Oh, one more thing I should say. I was going to say fond farewell to Bishop Murdoch. One more thing. As part of this transfer, we've agreed to continue to pay our offering to the diocese in New England, because we realized that we were leaving or transferring in the middle of the budgetary year, and they probably already counted on our offerings. So we have not withdrawn that pledge, and we're going to keep giving our money to them for at the regular amount for the next year, and then we're going to shift over and contribute to the new diocese. So that's the change that's taken place. We're now part of the diocese called CANA East. Like I said, I'll send you a link to the diocese. I'll also send you a link to some information about Bishop Dobbs in one of his recent sermons. So I thank you for listening, and I hope this hasn't been too confusing for those of you who are not Anglican. If it has been, just go ahead and send me some questions on email. Thank you. Bye.